With this power, I feel invincible.
Code, the strongest villain in the Boruto anime. I know it sounds funny, but he is the heir to Ishiki's will, and yet everyone humiliates him. If in the first season he was feared, now he has become a laughingstock. But why? Code is a character introduced as a great admirer of Ishiki. However, this character was never supposed to have a future. According to interviews with Kishimoto and Ikamoto, he was meant to be killed off along with the rest of Jigen's organization. But at some point, the authors decided to change his story. We can even see this in the anime itself. His design changed slightly. His hair became darker, and the metallic-colored band on his head turned black. This was a symbol that the authors had reconsidered their decision to get rid of him. However, his future took a rather tragic turn. After learning that Ishiki was a god and needed a vessel, Code began dreaming of becoming that vessel himself, but Kawaki stood in his way. Instead of a full-fledged karma, Code received a broken one, which only grants him combat experience and enhances his body, for now at least. Then, Ishiki dies, appearing to Code and instructing him to carry out his will as the new Otsutsuki. But to do that, Code first needs to become one himself. Specifically, he must eat the chakra fruit and then ascend to godhood. And thus, a villain with a clear goal emerges. Code frees Ada, whom he falls in love with, but Kawaki has already stolen her heart. He then regains his true power, which Amato had sealed away to prevent him from surpassing Jigen. The authors tell us that once Code reclaimed his true strength, he became stronger than Jigen, who had effortlessly defeated Naruto and Sasuke. This means Code is now even stronger and capable of the same feats. And now that the Uchiha and Hokage have lost their power, Code can easily destroy them. With his newfound power, he feels invincible, until Damon, Ida's brother, easily smashes him into the ground. But Damon can get away with this because, according to the author, he is even stronger than Jigen and far more dangerous. Code then goes to the Ten Tails and splits it apart using a power he gained from Shibai's genes, the same belts he uses. This makes it clear that someone capable of splitting and controlling the Ten Tails so easily must be the strongest being. However, Kawaki interferes once again, and thanks to Ida, Code forgets that Kawaki is Kawaki, and instead starts believing that his childhood enemy is Boruto, whom he then begins hunting. Meanwhile, Boruto flees the village with Sasuke. After a year of searching, Code finally finds the Uchiha and his supposed enemy, but all he gets is a scar on his eye. It's unclear whether it was Boruto or Sasuke who gave it to him. Still, this doesn't quite match the strength of someone who was supposed to be stronger than Jigen, and should have been able to take down the Uchiha without the Hokage. However, Code manages to imprison Sasuke, though unfortunately for him, Boruto escapes. 2 years later, Code, now with pieces of the Ten Tails, arrives in Konoha to track down Boruto. And then, the protagonist appears. Standing on the face of the strongest villain in history, Boruto uses his new technique, the Prince of Whirlwinds, and easily defeats Code. Let me remind you, this is the same Code who was stronger than Jigen, but the villain manages to escape, only to find that the Ten Tails has evolved and now considers Code a loser, not even seeing him as a threat. Code is forced to flee to avoid being killed. Sometime later, the strongest being in the Boruto anime decides to track down Shinju. However, Ru, a clone of Shinki, effortlessly finds Code and holds him like trash, insignificant, useless trash. But then Code decides to prove that he is stronger than Jigen and attacks his enemy with incredible speed, only to lose an arm. The embodiment of the Ten Tails doesn't even want to fight him, seeing him as nothing more than a parasite, a worthless, useless piece of trash, and so the Shinju make him an offer. If he finds and kills Boruto's ally, they will allow him to eat the chakra fruit, which will form once one of the Shinju absorbs either Kawaki or Boruto. And now, the strongest being is forced to grovel before a tree that has gained consciousness. To many viewers, Code is just a punching bag with no real potential. However, the authors didn't keep him around for no reason. He is set to play a crucial role in the future of the story. What exactly that role is, we don't yet know. But one thing is certain, Code still plans to become the new Otsutsuki, and he will achieve it. But how? Do you remember the episode where Kawaki and Boruto were on the Hokage faces? There was a discussion about how Boruto could survive after Momoshiki took over his body. Kawaki suggested transferring his karma to Code, as he might be a suitable vessel. Despite already possessing white karma, the authors hinted that Code could receive a second one. However, Boruto refused, saying he wouldn't use others just to save himself. But I think you understand that everything shown in the story is important. There are no pointless conversations. This dialogue suggests that Code will get a second karma, and the one who grants it might be Momoshiki. Momoshiki realized that he couldn't couldn't escape Boruto's body, that Boruto would constantly suppress him. Boruto cannot be broken. So all Momoshiki needs to do is take control of Boruto's body once and transfer a new karma to Code. These two have already met, and Code was very polite to Momoshiki, as he generally admires the Otsutsuki clan. This might be why Code was spared, to become the next vessel, and his dream of becoming a vessel and an Otsutsuki will come true. Unless, of course, the authors have planned for him to be a dark horse, constantly humiliated until he finally snaps and either eats the chakra fruit or somehow absorbs Shibai's body, which was in Ishiki's possession. So, despite being treated like a punching bag, Code shouldn't be underestimated. He is part of the overarching plot. His story may be filled with failures for now, but sooner or later, he will get what he deserves. What do you expect from this character? Write in the comments. Best of luck to everyone.